وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا أرحم الراحمين. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal, teach us what benefit us from what He taught us, and increase us in knowledge. Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen. My dear beloved respected brothers and sisters, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make me and you from the people who listen and apply. Tonight we have a very powerful, scary hadith. And I need you to please lend me your ears and lend me your heart. The hadith is in Bukhari, 100% authentic, and the hadith is Qudsi. So Rasulullah ﷺ told us that Allah Azza wa Jal said. So what is the hadith? Rasulullah ﷺ said that Allah said, I am the opponent of three kinds of people on the day of judgment. A person who makes a covenant in my name and betrays it, and a person who sells a free person and eats his price, and a person who hires somebody, get the job done, and never pay their wages. Allahu Akbar. Very scary hadith. My brothers and sisters, if the mayor, if the governor, if the president, if someone in authority is your opponent, you will be having sleepless nights. How about having Allah your opponent, and when on the day of judgment, when He is the only one who will permit people to Jannah and prevent them from the hellfire. He is the only one, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ, to whom belong the mulk, all the bounties today, to Allah Azza wa Jal alone. How can I have Allah Azza wa Jal, Malik Yawmiddin, the owner of that day, the king of that day, the king of kings, my opponent on the day that I really need every single help? So we have to make sure that we are not among these three people. The first person is a person who made a covenant, made an oath by the name of Allah, and he betrayed it. What does that mean? Someone told another person, Wallahi, by Allah, if you keep this with me, this amana, when you come back, you will have it the same. I promise you, by Allah, I will protect it. With the intention, pre-intention to betray. Not something happened, emergency, an accident. No. He already had the intention to betray the person, and he used the same of Allah to gain the trust of that person. By Allah, if you give me that money, by Allah, I'm going to give it back to you Ramadan first. He already knows he's not going to pay it. He doesn't want to pay him. He just want to take that money and deceive the person. Any kind of promise using Allah's name, making yameen, and betraying it on purpose, then that person will be among the people whom Allah Azza wa Jal will be their opponent. You know, that also applies to someone deliberately coming to the Masjid, growing his beard, holding a masbahah, and constantly remembering Allah to gain the trust of people. And then he would tell them, you know, I have a good project that will bring back this much money, and then he takes the money from the people. So he built that trust on purpose in order to betray the others. Like, wallah, I will never forget this brother. May Allah guide me and guide him. I went to a honey store in one of our countries, and the guy had a huge beard, and mashallah. I said, Allah, beautiful beard. You know what he said? He said, it's good for the business. Wallahi, he killed me. He said, it's good for the business. Because, you know, there's a lot of cheating when it comes to asal, to honey. You have no clue if the honey that you're buying is authentic, real, pure honey or not. So you have to trust. You have to trust the seller in order to buy that honey. So he said, I'm growing my beard in order for the people to trust me. It's good for the business. So we're using righteousness to betray people. That's also included in this. Be very careful, my brother, my sister. The second person, we have to mention it even though it does not apply in our days, but it's a person who sold a free man and took all the money. He kidnapped somebody who is free, he's not a slave, and he sold them as a slave. And he took all the money. And the guy, so he stole his freedom, which Allah gave him. He stole his freedom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him and sold him as a slave. You know, he kidnapped somebody, he captured someone, and he sold him as a slave. He's not a slave, he's just a regular human being, just like the guy who sold him. So that is also, Allah will be his opponent on the Day of Judgment. And the third one, unfortunately, it is the most dominant in our culture and in our time. We hire someone, and when I used to live in Dubai, this complaint was literally on a weekly basis. Yes, Shaykh, I've been working construction in Dubai, 100 and something degrees outside, and the guy did not pay me. Or I'm not, not specifically Dubai, any country where people hire laborers and they do not pay them after the job is done. Allah will be your opponent on the Day of Judgment. Rasulullah ﷺ taught us that before the sweat is dry, make sure you pay the person their job when it's done. How can you take someone's rights that his family overseas is depending on it, waiting for it, and you delay it for no reason whatsoever, just because maybe he doesn't have the power to fight you? Or another case, I asked Brother Rahim and I made a deal with him that he's gonna come and fix something in my house, and we agreed that it's gonna cost $1,000. And when he's done, I threw 700. Rahim said, but ya Shaykh, you said $1,000. We agreed on 1,000. Take it or leave it. Be very careful. Keep that promise. Inna al-ahda kana mas'oola. That promise that you gave, you will be questioned about it. And not only that, Allah will be your opponent on the Day of Judgment. None of us can afford that. Whatever the deal that you made with that person, with that company, with that contractor, you have to fulfill that deal if the job is complete and done. Otherwise, wallahi, the result is not pleasing to anyone. So Allah Azza wa Jal said, I am the opponent of these three kinds of people. A person that makes a covenant and betrays it on purpose. The second is a person that sells a free man and takes the money. And a person who hires somebody, get his job done, and then he does not pay his wages. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. May Allah make us from the people who listen and apply. May Allah make our last deeds our best deeds. May Allah permit us into Jannah without any punishment. May Allah make our last words La ilaha illallah. I love you all for the sake of Allah. Please subscribe and forward this material so we could all benefit bi'idhnillah. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
كتاب أنزل إليك فلا يكن في صدرك حرج منه لتنذر لينذر به وذكرى للمؤمنين.